This episode is brought to you by Elric's Hobbies. Check out elricshobbies.com and take your hobby to that next level.
Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
So this is The Long War. I'm Robbie B. And joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Stephen Ford, and Mike Haspel. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
Ricky Ticky Tavi.
Nice. All right, so we have a really good show for you guys tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about Adepticon because tickets go on sale in 5 short days from today. So by the time you hear this, they may already be on sale. So you're definitely going to want to check that one out because they tend to sell out pretty quick.
Hashtag get in where you fit in.
Definitely. And obviously we're running an event there too. So tabletop marketplace, well, there's some stuff coming out this week and some more stuff coming out next week, but a lot more on the horizon as far as that goes. I feel like we have a webcast recap. Really exciting couple of questions. Sal came in with a really good one. And then Kevin's got some hobby stuff to lead us out on, I feel like. So it's going to be a really exciting show. Now, Adepticon, obviously, is always an event that's near and dear to our hearts. I've been going for many years. I know Kenny's been going, and Haspel's from Chicago. But tickets will go on sale to all the events. I don't have the exact time. Usually it's
Monday morning, probably, right? Is it
Monday morning? I suppose we should look that up.
Yeah, I already told my boss I'm not coming into work till like noon.
Oh wow!
It's like I'm not even playing.
Yeah, you got to be quick on that cart. So you can find the list right now. I think there's like 384 events or something crazy. There's a lot happening this year.
That's unreal. 384 events. That's not even a real number.
I mean, think about this. Like, if you just had 300 events with one person in each event, you'd already be a massive convention, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if it's just like, imagine if it was 300 events with like maximum one person capacity. You were already the fucking huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
This Adepticon is definitely the original OG, like, convention style wargaming convention, like, where it's all about wargaming, and obviously the flagship being Warhammer 40K and or GW in general. You know, multiple thousands of people, massive events with hundreds of people in each event. Their flagship event is the 4-man team, which they innovated way back in like the early 2000s. They kind of started really blowing up in 2006, 2007, when people just started getting like, you know, teams together from other parts of the country. Yeah, that's when shit got real. People from other countries are flying. And so, I mean, just to put in perspective, like 2007 was my first Adepticon. Because that's the first time I had heard about it, right? Marcus Parkus, the great Marcus Parkus, came to me, touched me on the shoulder, and he said, "Have you heard about Adepticon?"
You knew Marcus Parkus.
I did not say I knew him. I said he touched me.
He touched me on the shoulder once.
And so then I rolled out there with a good guy named Ron Santoni, and my brother David, and the rest has been its history. 2007 all the way to 2017. This will be my 10th year in a row going to Adepticon. It is the shit. I think we talk about it all the time, but here's the important shit right now. Like, obviously, whatever event you're going to do, you need to fucking be at your Beats Lab control center. You need to be ready to go because shit fills up. Don't fucking sleep on it. But the Long War is obviously running the second year in a row. The annual Long War Doubles, bringing hobby back social tournament. It is 50% hobby scores, 50% hobby score, and 50% battle score. We don't do another win-loss, and we bring hobby back all day, every day. There is very limited information on the website right now, but as we go into the future, there will be links. There will be an EPK for you guys. There'll be a whole press release on Spikey Bits. The world-famous Mike Haspel will write something up. He's actually like at the helm, like Mike Haspel. That is his role now. It seems he is like taken this over. He has designed new missions. He's come up with new ways to score everything. He is the tech priest of the Long War event.
Yep. And I like how you just like kind of just push me out there. So when it totally blows up, you'll be like, Mike, you've been voted off the island.
This has nothing to do with me. I literally promise you, if it's garbage, it's all Hasbro.
It is. Yeah, I will not allow it to be garbage. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, we have comp score, which is controversial, but it keeps things from getting too out of control. We have a theme score that we've added, which is judge scored comp, essentially, where we go around and we go, hey, this is thematic.
There are no shortage of theme capable like people on this crew between Haspel and Robbie B going around scoring theme. I think that we're gonna have some pretty accurate theme scores.
Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty good. I'll write something up tomorrow, and I'll have definitely a good solid write up before this weekend, so you guys all have a chance to read it before you have to sign up.
Well, I'm going to sign up regardless, so
obviously. There's also a possibility that Juice, the person in charge of our swag department, might have some swag out there that's Adepticon exclusive.
Absolutely. Everybody decided that my outfit last year was definitely cruise ship fund director status. With my white khaki shorts and my tucked in blue sleeve button up short sleeve. Was definitely cruise ship fund director. So I'm going to be out there screaming and yelling and trying to keep everybody motivated to the bar.
I like that.
Getting twisted.
Did they serve lettuce there?
Juice always raises the bar, and Rob always eats his salad off. Okay, how about this? Rob doesn't always eat salad, but when he does, it's always off the carpet. And
always off the carpet.
Hashtag Rob literally always eats salad.
The bottom line is, if you're even on the fence, sign up for the doubles event, the Long War doubles event. We promise you will have a good time.
Yeah, and just to put it in perspective too, like go there for the weekend, go there to have a great time, sign up for some events, for anybody who's going and this is their first time, okay, and you're like, you have never been to Adepticon, but you want to know what you really want to play in the championship. It's one of the major events that you talk about. This is your first event outside of your local area. You're a badass. You beat the shit out of everybody in your local scene. They're all like, dude, go to Adepticon. You're going to win the entire thing.
All of it.
All of it. For real. Like you're going to do it. I know you will. Well,
spoiler alert.
Sign up for the champions, do your thing, and then right after that, go ahead and sign up for the team event. Because a buddy's going to be coming with you. You guys are going to have fun. You're not going to make it into the top 16. There is some 200 plus players that are going to show up to this thing. The most badass players across the country and in other countries.
Are you telling me I'm not going to make top 16?
You might make top 16.
I won't. Let me tell you exactly. This is what we always talk about. So 16 people get to move on. So our event, it's very tactically laid out. The championship at Adepticon has always taken place as a dual event. Day one of the championship is 4 rounds. They farm the top 16 battle points out of that for the championship bracket that happens on Friday. Now, the Thursday event is a full-blown, hobby-weighted, sportsmanship matters, painting, everything, right? It's its own self-contained events. Then, like I said, just battle points will flood out the top 16. So it's always cool. It's always worth playing in. But if there's 200 people, only 16 are going on, just play the odds. If you're in a room with 200 people who are exactly as good at you as 40K, all playing the exact same list, you probably aren't going to make it.
You should definitely roll off 6s.
And so this is why I brought this up. I made it in the last time I played, but that's only because they broke it to top 32. So when they made it to top 32, I played in the championship on day 2, right? But 3 years in a row, let me put this down, Juice, I was 17th in battle score. Okay, so I'm just going to say and I came hard. I came in with my super friends. I came in not fucking around. You know what I'm saying?
Came in hard and arguably one of the best players in the country.
Definitely. I won't say anything about how I play now, but definitely in those times, I was definitely taking it a little bit more seriously, playing a little bit more hard line competitive. I was definitely if there was a top number, I was in there somewhere. You know what I mean? But I was only getting 17. So I missed it both years in a row, or 3 years in a row, was 17th. And so I didn't make top 16, but I got 3rd or 4th place overall in the Adepticon day 1 of the champions because of my hobby scores, my painting, my sportsmanship. I had a blast. Looking at the list, seeing I didn't make top 16 did not affect me mentally in any way. I was already happy. Everything was right in the universe. When I did make top 32, when they did expand it, and I was 17th yet again and made it to top 32, it wasn't nearly as fun because now what you've done is you've taken, and this is one of the right ways to do it in my opinion. Now it's a win-loss tournament. You know what I mean? Like essentially, now it's like, now let's see who the hardcore champion here is. No weighted scores. Played some great guys, but at the end of the day, I'm not nearly as interested in events that don't reward me for the 1,000 hours in my beats lab I put into my pay jobs. So, but there was about 1,000 people who disagree with me, and so there is 16 spots for you guys, homies. You know what I'm saying? So like it's literally, there's something for everybody at Adepticon.
Oh, and it's not just limited to 40K either. There's X-Wings coming in hot. FOG has official events there on their big system series. So, and I mean that's just the tip of the iceberg.
And there are games there that you don't even have to bring your stuff. Like there was that guy who had he had those tall ships that were like 28 millimeter scale. They were incredible.
Handful of semen.
Yeah, that's what it was called there, right? You're right. And it was awesome. It was just amazing to look at his stuff. And you didn't need anything. You could just show up and play. You didn't need to bring anything.
Yes, it was glorious, man.
I mean, how can you forget a name like that?
No, I can't. I can't, man. I mean, like back in the old days, and we were on another podcast that shall not be named, but I'm pretty sure our first episode ever, we opened with Adepticon.
You sure it wasn't poop?
That was this podcast.
Oh, okay, great.
But we started broadcasting with Adepticon. Like that we did an episode back, so many years ago that was like events you can't miss. Mm-hmm. And it was in like the order that you can't miss them in. Adepticon has always been in our hearts. Like this is the one. Now we promote LVO. LVO is an amazing achievement. It's going to be fantastic. I mean, like at least 3 of the people in this podcast are going to be at LVO, or at least 2, maybe 3, maybe even 4. We are all in on LVO. It's going to be amazing. Adepticon is number 1 in our hearts, and number 1 girl. We're there bringing hobby back. Not that we wouldn't be bringing hobby back at LVO. We actually were approached to. It just wasn't in their cards this time around, but maybe in the future. But Adepticon has been there for us for 10 years, and we will always be there. Like it's like whatever's going on in our life, like we will make sure we're there. That's how we feel about Adepticon.
Yeah, absolutely. It is an absolute amazing event from start to finish. Not only are there's events, there's bars, there's food, there's socializing, chilling in the hall. I mean, it's just unbelievable. An entire 3-4 day experience of just kicking it. Hey, and I want to take this lastly, maybe before we move on to the next topic. I didn't play in the singles event last year. Now, I've had this conversation multiple years after every Adepticon. I'm playing 16 games. I'm playing 12 games. I'm doing all this and just exhausted. And I'm like, what could I do without? What could I do without? Well, literally on Thursday, you just flew in on Wednesday. You have, getting acclimated, doing your thing. Like, man, what would Adepticon be like if I just got wasted, kicked it with all my boys, chilled everything else, and didn't stress about playing 4 games in 1 day on Thursday? Sure as shit. Last year I didn't do it. It was my first time. I had to like pull myself back from doing it because I really wanted to, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I fell asleep at the tables on Sunday. Remember that, Juice?
Yeah, get some Red Bulls
right next to each other, and you passed out. Like, had to get up and get Red Bulls because like the game exhaustion kicked in. 4 days in a row of nonstop gaming. So I took the opposite end of like, hey, let's come in, chill Wednesday night, and just kick it all day Thursday. And it was, I mean, as you can see, we had the yin and yang. Haspel could barely stand, and I was good to go.
Yeah,
so it was a blast. There was stuff that I didn't even know Adepticon did because I was so hyper focused on 40K on that Thursday. I was able to explore and check out stuff that I didn't even know was in the convention hall. You know
can
what I
see
mean?
like within eyesight, like within like line of sight.
Yeah, like, yo, what's that over there? Let me get check it out.
I've literally been standing here for 14 hours. I just saw that.
Nah, it's a great event. So definitely check that one out. Again, tickets go on sale Monday, the 21st
Yep.
of November, which, might be today when you're listening. So check it out. Don't miss it. All right, getting into Tabletop Market Watch. Haskell's got some stuff. I got some stuff. This week is Planetary Onslaught, which is it seems to be a compilation of 3 previous books: Planet Strike, Cities of Death, and the Stronghold Assault, which kind of like putting all the data sheets into there. Nothing new in here. They don't even have the Hamatrope Reactor, which was the new terrain piece last week. And I'm like, huh? I mean,
Wow.
they give you the rules in the box, right? But it's not in this book. I don't know.
Did they update the Cities of Death and the other stuff at least? The Planetfall to 7th edition?
Yeah, it seems like the campaign, the force org charts for if you do the actual campaign scenarios are updated over with command benefits to the force org. So that's kind of neat to see. It looked like there might have been a couple more missions for the I want to say it's Eternal War, but I know that's incorrect. Whatever the Planetfall missions were, there's more of them. I think it was like a D3. Now there's 6 of them. So each section, like the Cities of Death, the Planetfall, and they each have like 6 full missions, and then they give examples on how to do like a ladder campaign. Which
How do you feel about the book? Like that? I mean, I just like roll my eyes when it's all like, check out these new missions. Like, am I the only one who feels that way, or do you guys all like play these new missions?
So I think there's 2 ways to look at it. Like, obviously, if you're a super competitive player, you're like, what's the rules? What's the rules? What's the rules? What's updated? There's a couple things in here updated. Like, for instance, the Sky Shield landing pad automatically comes with Ready for Takeoff now. So that's cool. You don't have to pay the 5 points for it. But at the end of the day, what's 5 points?
Yeah, I get to keep melted bombs on that one tech marine.
Because the only one can throw a grenade. But there's, as far as new content, I'm not seeing it. Like there isn't a new set of rules in here that might perhaps be game breaking. Now, maybe I'm overlooking something because I've only seen what I've seen online, but right now that's where I'm at.
Now, I do have a question with the Ready for Takeoff stuff. Did every tournament allow Ready for Takeoff? Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the rules for the Sky Shield landing pad and then the rules for the Sky Shield landing pad with Ready for Takeoff in 2 separate books?
Like the main rule book versus
yes, was the Sky Shield landing pad was this, and if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't until Planetary Strike Force, or
I think that is true. Like in Stronghold Assault, it was actually in there, and people were like, "Hey, what's this?"
Yeah, and it was like you can do that, and so if I'm not mistaken, I'm feeling like some events did not allow Ready for Takeoff because it didn't recognize the book that it came from as a, place to get fortifications and stuff like that. Like it only allowed bastions, Sky Shield landing pads in this, but not necessarily the battlefield debris that you could get for them or anything else like that. So this would be a little different just because it is only 5 points, but it's a 5 points that they're saying is now free. And this is period, just the rules. Every Sky Shield landing pad has Ready for Takeoff.
Yeah, they're just like, yo, this is happening. And it also looks like, looking at the list that Gito put online, that some of the data sheets, or I guess they weren't data sheets at the time from the main rule book, are also in here. So I'm hoping there's some sort of clarification about how that might work, because I don't think there were technically data sheets in there, or there definitely weren't fortifications in the main rule book. So that's going to be interesting. So the 3 sections are Planet Strike, and then Stronghold Assault, and Cities of Death. So it literally
Does it replace, or do they give you some GW blurb that says in addition to?
I have no idea yet, but these sections are literally the sections that are the previous supplements we've seen. So I'm hoping there's some sort of clarification in there. And then of course there's 29 new data sheets. I think it's 21 are actual data sheets that are quite possibly reprinted and tweaked. 2 are the networks, like the Void Relay network, and on the other one I forget what it is. And then
what about
sidewalls?
All this sounds ridiculous. What about the Hemitrope reactor?
It's not in here.
It's not in there.
It's not in there, no.
So and there's no and correct me if I'm wrong, but I was suspecting that it would be a battlefield debris upgrade that some fortifications would be able to take, like the Void Shell Generator. How can take walls, barricades, tank traps, etc. This is not actually present in any upgrade fashion whatsoever.
I don't know that I don't know that in this book, but I do know that the data sheet that comes with the box set says it's fortification, and I believe it costs 40 points. So it was definitely not an upgrade that you took.
So in some events, they don't let you take more than one fortification.
Right.
And so basically, you're not going to be able to combo this thing off of Void Shell Generator in every event you play it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case for these. But they do, remember, the Hemitrope does affect or bolster plasma weaponry and also the Void Shield Generator, but that's just a secondary thing at that point if you can't physically have 2 fortifications, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm all about 9 obliterators shooting twice a turn. Like, 9.
I don't see a problem with it.
At 20, like I said, at 24 inches, you're having to deal with 18 or 9 plasma cannons and 9 plasma massive or ordnance shots, basically, like pie plates. Like it's hilarious. Like I think it's pretty badass. And I was thinking too, can the Hemitrope reactor in itself, in its upgrade, can it take any kind of battlefield debris upgrades? Like, can it take walls and fortifications?
No, I don't believe it did have any upgrades.
Because here's my shit right here. If you take, like, let's say you take the Hemitrope reactor, let's say you do take 2 fortifications. You take the reactor and ammo dumps, which let you reroll 1s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now let's say you're these 9 obliterators that shoot twice and you can reroll 1s and you have the new shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of hilarious too.
That seems good.
Right.
Now when I was researching, trying to figure out what was new in the book and what's current and the rules for everything, I noticed that the Imperial Bastions, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but they are eligible to take items from the building obstacles and battlements section, which haven't seen the listing of it, but that sounds eerily familiar to what was in Stronghold Assault, the things you just described, Kenny. So was that ever a thing? Like, were we ever allowed to take these upgrades on like a bastion per se? Like on their own? No. Like you had a fortification slot, and that fortification had access to those. So like you would buy like a bastion or an Imperial bunker, and then you could upgrade up to a certain number. Like I used to take a Sky Shield landing pad all the time, but I would buy 2 barricades. Right, and I remember that, but apparently you can do that with buildings as well, like the bastions themselves.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I
didn't remember that.
I actually do that with my Imperial bunker for my Chaos Army a lot with my spawn. I buy the 2 wall sections, which they actually give you the dimensions on, essentially. And they're bigger than like the Aegis wall sections. So you're actually shortchanging yourself if you use those. But basically you have like 2 more 4-up cover save wall sections that you can like fan out on the left and then on the right side of your bunker, right? So then your spawn can be like right up against it, getting 4-up cover saves, and then just blow right through them.
And then also give the bunker a cover save too if it blocks.
If you wanted to, but like now you've just provided like ruin saves for your whole army and put your objective secure unit in a bunker and an escape hatch. Like there's like, I mean, some people do it with tank traps. Like that was a whole thing because tank traps straight up say that like vehicles can't pass through this. Right?
Right. People were like, yo, your Night Titan can't. I remember that.
Rules is written. Your Night Titan is not walking through a tank trap.
Uh-huh.
Like, because it doesn't say the tank. It doesn't say not walkers. It says vehicles. So like literally you could like essentially put a bunker here with 2 tank traps around it and all the Night Titan could ever do is charge the bunker, like because it wouldn't be able to come around. Like there, I mean, but obviously that's kind of crazy. But I'm just saying, there's plays.
Now I also noticed that the wall martyrs, vengeance weapon battery, those things with like a battle cannon or the Icarus blast cannons.
I love those.
It looks like they were updated to say armor value 14 and 3 hull points. And they didn't previously say how many hull points they had.
Right, because that came out later.
Yeah, so they're a small building, armor value 14 with 3 hull points.
Because before there was this weird moment when like they didn't have hull points.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and you couldn't. So that means you had to blow them up. It means you had to get that pen 7.
Yeah.
Right. So you needed AP1 to do it. With a 5 on a pen, or AP2 with a 6 on a pen. So like basically that's kind of hardcore. But now they're like, no, there's 3 hull points. Just gotta roll that 6 3 times.
Yeah.
To make it in line with everything else.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's if you're a competitive player, there probably isn't much in here for you except for the fact that you get all these data sheets in one book. But if you're, more of a casual player or more of a narrative player, now you've got 3 different narrative tracks you can roll through.
Yeah, especially if you don't have Cities of Death. I mean, that came out. Was it early 5th or even late 4th?
I want to say it was like 06 because the Medusa 5 campaign, didn't that use it?
That used Cities, yeah. So it's old. So if you don't have Cities of Death, I'd say that's kind of worthwhile. If you're a non-competitive player, it has some solid different missions. It has some like not objectives. What are the things that you? I
know exactly what you're talking about. They're the first milestone thing.
Stratagems.
That's it. That's
I remember playing an event at the old Gamers Haven. One time when we ran that, and I played against Tim Baptist running his Gene Stealers with all these stratagems. I had my Death Guard Plague Marines with all these stratagems. Like, he was pretty happy about all the stratagems, but I was like, you're about to find out what T5, pain stratagems all over the fucking place means. Like, it was pretty funny. Like, we had some good games in the stratagem days. Fun times.
Yeah, definitely. Because they added a whole different flavor to the game. They could change things.
It's mostly like the first framework of the Maelstrom.
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat. I mean, I think it's a decent little book. Is it a must-have? No, probably not. But it's definitely worth picking up if it's not already on your shelves. And it's cool to have the stuff already ported over to 7th edition. So, I mean, if you're always looking for some narrative play, hey, there's that too. And then next week is the Blood Bowl, the return. Everybody's favorite childhood GW game, I guess.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
That is my joy, dude. Like, I cannot wait for this game. I absolutely cannot. I wish Haspel, you and I could just poof. And this distance that's between you and I can just fully get behind some Blood Bowl, dude. Like, I haven't been so pumped for a game. I want you guys to know that. I mean that shit. Like, I am excited where 40K is at. I've got my list. I've got, games lined up. Like, I am literally, I'm going to put some shit on hold when Blood Bowl comes out.
Are you going to be Skaven Blade?
I don't know. Like, it looks like that's going to
be the. You better say yes. Like, that was my shit, Blood Bowl, man. Some gutter runners, dude. Like, this is my jam.
Yeah, those are the dudes. All right, there it is.
They got this new dope ass, like, the plastic kit has like different arms. So like they're grabbing the balls and the 2 different like types of balls, and then some of them have like warp stone and shit. Like,
you just said balls 4 times.
I know. Wow, did you not?
Then he's got balls.
They all got balls in their hands, different types of balls.
When you grab the models and you crush your balls.
now you're just getting crazy. But the bits look pretty dope. They come with that kit, and obviously all the stuff's like re-engineered and re-sculpted and things. And I don't know, man. I'm stoked. I kind of want to secretly wait for the dwarfs though, but I don't know. I'm in the air. I like
that. Haspel, who's your team?
Dude, I don't play sports ball. I don't know.
Who's your Blood Bowl? Who's your Blood Bowl team? Have you done Blood Bowl before?
I have not done Blood Bowl since 1989. Like when we bought 2 games back in the day. My buddy Randy and me and Dave and we went, and he bought Blood Bowl and I got Space Hulk, and that was our thing. This is like 88 or 89. It was a long time ago.
I feel like either way, that's a solid choice, though.
and I'd never really gotten to Blood Bowl. I hate to say that, but I even bought it on Steam. I tried to play it digitally, and I just can't really get my head around it. It's the whole, fantasy football. I'm like, I'm not doing it.
Well,
and I'm going to have to pass on it now too, because they released that little teaser for the Warzone Fenris Part 2. And so I'm like, oh, I got to save up money because they've been coming out with so many good products, and I'm just like, I can't do it. So I have to go for Warzone Fenris Part 2 instead of Blood Bowl. And it's going to hurt too, because there's a ton of people signed up at Gamers Haven. So they're going to have leagues. They're going to have all kinds of stuff. I'm like, oh man,
Oh yeah. That chip is going to go off, and you're not going to be able to fight it for so long.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I mean, when you see all the people sitting at the tables, you're going to want to be like, all right, man, teach me a sports ball. It's okay. We won't tell anybody.
It's actually how I got into Anachronism, back in 2005 showed up on Sunday between the time they opened to like 5 was 40K. And then it was Star Wars miniatures. And then Anachronism's tournament started at 7:00. And I was like, oh my God, what is this game? Why is there 25 people playing it right now? That's what I want to do.
What?
Yep. Anachronism was that heat. I feel like it's been at least 8 podcasts since we talked about Anachronism and how epically awesome of a game that was. So I just had to make sure.
Haspel walked into our Adepticon hotel room and just threw like 100 packs on the table.
Yep. True story. Mats. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to put this in my life right now.
We should do a retro gaming thing every Adepticon. We have a different retro game that we have to play again. That'd be neat.
I needed a crash course on how to play it again. I mean, you think about something, you don't do something for how many years? I think the last time I played was middle of 2006.
Mm-hmm.
My retro game would be Dune 2, The Building of a Dynasty on DOS.
Oh my gosh. I thought you said you weren't old, Kenny.
By Westwood Studio.
Oh, Westwood. They did Command and Conquer.
My game would be Warcraft. Cheat code glittering prizes.
I think
Duke Nukem DM Cash. DM God, DM Clip.
Shake it, baby.
Yeah.
Shake it. That was a good one.
Haspel, what you got for us?
All right. So the first thing is that Space Hulk Deathwing, which is the PC game that we've been touting. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead or Vermintide, but only this time you are a Space Marine Terminator in a Space Hulk. So what's not to like? It actually has been slipped. It slipped about 2 weeks. It's coming out December 9th or 10th instead of when it was originally coming out. And I'm okay with that. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to play an alpha or a beta. I paid for this game. Slip it, release something solid so that we can just be, ecstatic about a great game instead of going, oh, this thing's buggy. So I hope that the extra couple of weeks buys them some stuff. I do have a Indiegogo thing to talk about as well. There is a table called the Alpha Game Table, and it is a folding table. And it is a little bit different than other folding tables because the ones you get at Walmart or wherever, they're too narrow. And they might be long enough, but they're too narrow to play a game on. This one is actually 4x6 when you unload it, and it's really sturdy. If you're in the market for some kind of table that you can pack up and put away and everything like that, go check them out. It's called the Alpha Game Table, portable game surface on Indiegogo. there's also on Kickstarter this thing called the Tabletop Hex Terrain Toolkit, which I went ahead and bought in on this, and it was a lot, but I'm like, this is something really cool. This is not something that's gonna solve all your terrain problems instantly. It's definitely, some work to do these things, but it lets you make hex terrain like the old Terra Genesis terrain, stuff like that, where you have all these different hexes. You can make rivers, you can make cliffs, hills, different kinds of stuff like that, and then you piece them all together to make your table, and then you can just reconfigure it. It gives you a modular table. So initially, it's going to be a project to build all this stuff to build your table, but once you're done, you're done. And this stuff, if you make it out of high density foam, it'll last for decades. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, we had some Terra Genesis stuff in my old Wargaming club that we used for like BattleTech and for other miniature games like, Ancients and American Civil War. And that stuff, I wound up selling it because I didn't use it anymore. It had just sat in a box, but it lasted decades. This stuff will last forever. So go check that out. That's called the Tabletop Hex Terrain Toolkit. And it is on Kickstarter.
That's definitely a good one. There's a lot of good Kickstarters popping off right now. I guess it's about the season, right?
Yeah. Then we had we did have a very small webcast recap. We had Salvatore asked, do we think that the growing number of Sigmar and 40K computer games, on console and on PC, do they reflect the positive change that GW seems to be making? And I kind of have my own opinion on this, but we talked a little bit about it in the webcast. But essentially, I think that as a creative company, as any creative, selling your IP is one of the end goal, easy ways to make money. And I think under the old GW regime, they maybe played a little bit too fast and loose with their IPs. Now, granted, I've got a chip in my head, so if it says Games Workshop on a computer game, I'm probably going to like it. But that doesn't mean all those games were good. And I'll be honest about that. A lot of those games could have been a lot better. And they, in my opinion, maybe gave IP licenses to people who shouldn't have gotten it. To small companies that really didn't have the capability to pull off a Warhammer game in the full glory that it demanded. However, we do have a ton of Warhammer games. So we were just we were discussing a little bit on how much crossover there was. And I thought that there wasn't a whole lot of crossover between people that played the computer games and then walked into the local game store and said, hey, I want to play the tabletop game. But apparently, we were refuted by a couple of people in the webcast that said that they got into the tabletop game because of Dawn of War or one of those other games, and a really good opportunity is for Warhammer Fantasy, which, we're still lamenting the loss of the old world and everything. Well, that's gone from the tabletop, but you can still play it. They have Warhammer Total War.
Oh,
and that is an incredible game. And it is firmly established in the old world, prior to the end times. So you can still play that stuff. It's just not on the tabletop anymore. What do you guys think about that?
How ridiculous would it be? Because we always get, being game store employees or owners at some point, people will come in and be like, "Oh, that's the video game I played." Now, how messed up would it be if somebody was playing Warhammer Total War and they're like, "Yo, I want to go learn about this game," and they go to GW's site. Or they go, in a game store and they're
they made a miniature game about this video game?
Yeah, but they go in looking for fantasy and then they're like, oh, it's Age of Sigmar? Wait, what? And they're like, oh, well, it's kind of the same, I guess. Whatever.
I almost feel like GW should put up a page for those people so that when they go and they click the Warhammer Fantasy thing, it just plays the sad trombone sound.
Sad face. Sad face. Well, guys, let's talk about somebody near and dear to us.
And cat?
Somebody, I said someone, not some animal.
Cats are people too, dude.
They're not. So obviously, official sponsors of this episode, Elric's Hobbies, longtime friends of the show. These guys make amazing products, amazing bases. If you follow me on Twitch or Rob on Patreon, you've seen these bases. If you're juiced, you've even purchased these bases recently. If you've watched the recent episode of the battle reports on the Long War up in the Hall of Veterans, you'll see the Maelstrom counter, second powers, dual counter acrylic dial. These guys make a lot of stuff. They also are just coming out with a whole new set of chaos-themed wound counters. It's all American made, veteran owned. The prices are very competitive. They got new products coming out all the time, and definitely there's going to be an unboxing video here real soon on Spikey Bits.
Yeah, it's super high quality stuff too. I've been using their bases for a while. And full disclosure, I know Tony and Steve, so they like hook me up, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to need more of this stuff, and I'll buy it, and everything, and I did my whole Adeptus Mechanicus on their bases because they just looked amazing.
So they hit you with a classic crack dealer move. First one's free, homie.
Yeah. Here's a handful of bases for free, and then I was like, oh, turns out I need like
7 bases.
Yeah, exactly. It's the old hot dog and bun trick, And so it's just like, oh, it turns out I need like 25 more of these.
That's how it works. And I think Steve's actually a veteran too. So, veteran owned, very, very cool.
Always cool. Always awesome to support the internal economy of our country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what these guys do, man. Like literally look to the internets, look to the webs. You'll see these guys soon. That's elricshobbies.com. Check them out. elricshobbies.com is your exclusive portal to upgrading your hobby. When you sign up at thelongwar.net, you gain an instant promotional discount good for 10% off at Elric's Hobbies. elricshobbies.com. And we're back. Rob, community website, GW.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Before we jump to that, I did want to drop something on everybody though, on the community side as well. We just got up. We just went through a new design process over on Spikey Bits, but also today we just launched Spikey Bits Turbo, which is kind of a combo thing between the Long War and the ad-free version of Spikey Bits. So you got Spikey Bits ad-free, and you got the Long War, the Hall of Veterans that we talk about on here at least twice. But together, you can get them bundled for one low price. It's called Spikey Bits Turbo. It's up now. You can see it on the main site. There's a little button that says go ad-free. You can check it out, get all the info over there. Now, that being said, we are still tweaking a lot of things, so there might be a little, some gremlins. If you see anything wonky, just send us an email and we'll get it sorted out for you. Mostly quick like. But on that same note, and I know Haspel's gonna feel me on this one, like Games Workshop just dropped their community page today, which it's really cool. Like there's a lot of content over on there. They dropped a little spoiler, like picture, kind of teaser type thing, and they say they're gonna do that every week. Now, they don't have a dedicated forum, kind of like what we were used to back in the day. But what they do have is they've got all the old, like, kind of lore posts. Like, they have
from, like, the old school days from before they just went to a web store. They have, like, it looks like they're bringing back all the chapter approved stuff, a lot of hobby stuff. Their little intro video was kind of funny, too, where they're introducing everything, and then Duncan, like towards the end, he's all like, he just reflexively is like, yo, thin your paints. I was like, it's awesome. They did a lot of outreach. I mean, they've gotten Sarah Kaiser, who's a friend of the show, to like do sketches of all their team, their outreach, the media team for the community. And she does a webcomic called, Eagle Ordinary. I was going to say it has something to do with Guard in the title, but it doesn't. It's Eagle Ordinary. It is about Imperial Guard. So you need to check it out if you haven't. But yeah, I'm excited about this page. And I mean, it's only been up one day, and they had a lot of content on there.
Yeah, they preloaded it, which is smart. And I guess really we'll just kind of see every day. It almost feels to me like the weekly White Dwarf almost. Like, and I'm not sure, just right off the bat, that's kind of what I'm seeing. But I'm not sure, like, if it's something that is how many articles they're going to put out each week. Now, Forge World said they're going to move their bulletin over there. GW's moving their bulletin over there. So the stuff that we would normally see on their main sites looks to be over there. So really, just kind of, we don't know. Just check back every day. I'll be scoping it out, reading what they got, because they had a really interesting Eldar article on there with Jess Goodwin, talking about the creation of all the Eldar stuff. The background, the craft worlds and things, which I thought was pretty cool. And then they had some like old lore posts, like the different stages of becoming a Space Marine, which were in the old Index of Astartes book. So, it was always cool. Like, man, I remember reading that, like 10 years ago. So it's a great time for the hobby. Games Workshop definitely seems to be bringing the hobby back with this sort of thing. Almost emulating what some of us do out there already on the blogosphere, but it's not like something that I don't feel like we're all in competition. I feel like it's just like another channel on the TV. You just, if you still want to keep looking for stuff, you just flip the channel and you go over to ESPN, jump over to CBS, whatever, Game of Thrones, you just jump around, read what you want, and it's just great that there's that much more content out there. I feel like, and getting some spoilers out of it's pretty dope too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
spoilers.
Spoiler
alert. Literally my favorite shit.
Yeah. No, it's weird. I was actually on a web conference today, learning some new stuff about different things out there with the whole internet, SEO and using Facebook and things. And somebody was like joking with the guy. They're like, well, what about news posts? What do we do with our news posts? He's like, yeah, they do well, but you gotta have evergreen content. You gotta have the content that people come to your sites for, day after day, because that's what they want. There'll always be news, but you gotta have regular content too. And I was like, I feel like I learned this lesson 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I'm really hoping that they archived, back in like 4th edition and everything, where they had all those hobby articles, and then they rebooted their website and it came back and it was just a store and all that stuff was gone. So I hope that somebody archived that stuff and that it's gonna populate this Warhammer community thing, because you're not wrong that it has the weekly White Dwarf feel. That it has like that fix of extra content of just. I mean, Warhammer TV's been killing it. Just, Duncan's little, super short tutorials on whatever. And it's like they're taking requests. They've been just doing really good jobs of that. So I'm happy to see this just centrally located instead of having to go through the Facebook feed.
And I love those Warhammer TV tutorials. I watch them all the time. And I'm like, whenever I need to figure out how to do something, well, let me see how Duncan did it so I can see how I should do it.
Well, there's some truth in that, but let's be honest. Real recognize real. Their aim of this is to sell us their product. Like, whereas, if you go to Spikey Bits, for instance, I have no dog in the fight. Like, I'm going to tell you how I do it, maybe the quickest way or the easiest way that I think you should do it. But when it comes to them, they are trying to sell you something. They're not gonna show you a mix. He's not gonna mix paints. He's not gonna mix
Abaddon black with whatever the white color is to make gray. He's gonna actually pull out their handy dandy gray.
Which I'm not trying to be negative. That's what pays for all that content, all that great content and stuff out there. I wish me and Kenny had access to that, that level of like studio staffing and equipment and everything. It would be amazeballs. Like,
GW, you're looking for an American studio? Yeah, I got you, as long as you let me mix paints and use an airbrush.
Sorry.
And also, I don't have to use your paintbrushes.
Is it a Citadel airbrush?
They don't make one.
They had that one time.
That's not really an airbrush. That was just a spray. That was like a spray gun.
All right, I'll use your spray gun. I'll compromise there, but don't make me use your paintbrushes.
I wonder if that's something that we could put out feelers for. Like, do you think the average? Because I just did a review of the tint set, and I was like, really kind of. I was on the fence. Like, I was like, it really just feels like I see the intent here. Like, this is pigment, and you put it in here, and it's supposed to be more robust. And I was like, adding it in. And I'm like, man, I feel like you could just do this with your own paints. But the one thing I did like about it was that you could mix in these pigments into metallics, like a mithril, and then start to get that like dope ass like red metallic paint that would be cool for T-Suns, right? So I was like, well, that's dope. I get that. But then I was like, I just feel like I would just mix paint for the rest of it.
I feel like little known facts. Paint is a wash. Paint is a glaze. Like, you don't need glazes and washes to do anything. Like, paint is transparent. You know what I mean? And the thicker the paint, that's why they say to water down the paint so it flows easier. But you can water your paint down as far as you want and use it as a glaze, use it as a wash. Like, you really don't need any of these things. That's why I always call washes and glazes technicals, because they are produced to achieve an effect that is technically more difficult to do, or takes more technical expertise to achieve, or more know-how. But I mean, I watch people all the time on like Brush Lickers United on Twitch, and creative section of Twitch. I watch people do that, which is thin down paints all day, every day. I watch people who are like, I don't use wash, I don't use glaze.
Well,
I just thin my paints down.
I'll be the devil's advocate on this, because I remember I've been modeling for a long time, and I remember the days predating Wonder Wash, sitting there trying to mix thin down paint with, Futures floor wax and dish soap to try to get the right consistency so it would flow in there. And it was literally a game changer when Citadel came out with Agrax Earthshade. It was just like,
no, and it was. And that's
you mean Devlin Mud.
Devlin Mud, which is Agrax Earthshade now. Yeah, and Devlin Mud was the bomb. It was,
that's what I mean though. Like, technical. Like, it's like there's like this. I mean, fucking people who went to college and got fine art degrees, they've been mixing their own paint for years. Like, they're like, what? Like when you watch those like Golden Demon guys back before we had washes, like this didn't even phase them. They were like, I've been doing this the whole time. But like the rest of us hobos, like us homeless people who don't know how things work,
right?
We eat our beans cold out of a can. Like, when Devlin Mud hit, it changed everything. Like,
no, it really did. Like, it was almost like, Windows, coming on the computer scene. You didn't have to like type in prompts and things. Like, it's a game changer. But I'm almost wondering, like, getting back to what I was saying, like with the tint set, like that doesn't seem like it's an everybody product, an everyday hobbyist product. And I'm wondering if that's why Games Workshop hasn't come out with like, say, a Citadel airbrush is because maybe it's not an everyday hobbyist product. But not to say they couldn't come out with one in the future.
They came. I mean, Forgeworld's got that airline now. I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of reviewing to do. Like, people have been asking me. They watched your review online. They're like, "Are you going to review this?" It's like, it depends if Rob's going to throw those tints in a box and mail them to me.
Yeah, I use Citadel Air. I really like them. I mean, it's not the exclusive air paint that I use. I use other airbrush paints, obviously. But when you're trying to match that paint that you're hand painting on, those can't be beat. I love them. I used them on my Space Wolves, on my sisters. I really like them. So
there's definitely some pros and some cons to the actual Citadel Air. I would like to get my hands on a set of the Forge World paints. Maybe next order I'll be able to scoop those up, because they have some really unique coats, but they also have some clears, which the only other clears that I feel like are worth a crap are the Tamiyas. But they're very caustic, or whatever that word is. They're flammable, so you gotta definitely wear some sort of protection.
Enamels.
Yeah, I want to say they're enamels. They're definitely alcohol based. They're very, very potent.
They're alcohol based. That's not enamel. Alcohol is fine, man.
I know they have a flammable warning on them, and I feel like they're very odorous.
Do they smell like alcohol, or do they smell like enamel, like spray paint?
I'm not the best person to ask. I can just tell.
Oh, I forgot. You literally don't have a sense of smell, so you always have to.
When I inhale it, I'm like, oh, that tastes like chemicals. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
Because there's definitely a major difference between alcohol base and like enamels. Like, real alcohol fumes, they're not a problem. They just irritate you. Like, the problem is, enamels. Like that is like, you don't want to be putting you want to be well ventilated for enamels.
I'll have to look at that, but the Forge World ones don't seem to have those super crazy warnings on them. So I'm almost like, well, I wonder what they're made out of. That seems pretty dope.
Yeah, alcohol is just, it's just a way to make your paints dry faster.
Mhm.
That's like anything that has alcohol in it is just that paint dry faster. You know.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, obviously water-based acrylics use evaporation of water to dry. So thinning it down actually helps it dry more. Stuff like oil-based paint actually oxidize to dry, which is super crazy. Just wrapping your head around that one. And
oil, man.
Yeah.
Ancient. That's some ancient shit. Back in the dark ages of painting these models, right? My God.
People would grind stuff down and like.
People ask me all the time, "Do you mix your own washes?" I'm like, I preach about, nah, man. I just use GW washes, and I use. I'm super hard to paint on the gloss washes. I love them.
Oh, those are a game changer. Like you were 100% right about those.
It's cheating, man. Like it
really is.
It's like as long as you got some good matte varnish, like it's. They
behave differently too, depending on what you're doing with them. And
I got a whole tutorial where like literally we paint the Fire Slayer dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is cheating. Be prepared. It's about to make you feel bad that you spent 10 hours painting your shit. Like it's war disclaimer. Feel badsies.
Feel badsies incoming. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a great time. Obviously those videos are amazing. Everybody loves. I mean, I checked them out when I was doing my Beast Colorators. I used some of the stuff that was in it, but obviously didn't use all Citadel paints. I know you always only use Citadel, right, Kenny?
Oh, Citadel all day, every day. I bought 3 Artificer brushes the other day.
Hey, I actually like those. Those are not bad. They're more expensive than the Winsor Newton version, but they seem like they hold up just as good, at least in my eyes.
Hey, you know what? If it holds up, that's all you're really gonna ask for, I guess. I was being sarcastic. I've never paid $20 for a paintbrush in my life.
I know what kind of brushes you use.
I gotta put a plug in though for the regular Citadel brushes, because it's like for the folks that don't know about brushes, that don't do the research, that are not like artistes, that are going to go to an art supply store on the internet to get the proper brushes. I feel the regular Citadel brushes are plenty good. Like they did a pretty good job of giving you a decent brush for the price. It's a little overcosted, because everything that they do is overcosted. I mean, it's GW, but I feel like the GW brushes are actually pretty decent. I actually like all their products because,
oh my God,
I have a chip in my head. So this is the fanboy in me talking, but I like all their products because they've been around for a long time.
Okay. There is a deal they have, which is not so shitty. Now they have a deal on their website where it's like you get, I have it right here. Hold on. You get the medium shade brush. You get the small layer brush, the medium base brush, the medium layer brush. You get the base brush. And you get this texture tool, the medium texture tool. It's like $50 on their website. And now, if you can get that, like through your favorite, dicehead.com or whoever for 20% off, that becomes a good deal. Now, I will tell you straight up, you also get the large base brush. You get a whole other brush I didn't talk about in there. I think you get why don't I have? No, it's in here. The medium base brush. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with the medium base brush. The medium base brush is one of the ballers brushes of all time for about 5 days.
5 Kenny days? Like, how many is that in real people?
Now, see, that's what I'm saying. 5 Kenny days could be 30 Haspel days. I don't know. Like, I mean.
Yeah, because I literally paint everything with 3 brushes.
Like, and so the brush is good. It's a real good base brush. And I mean, I have brush maintenance is crazy. Like I don't put a brush away. Like I don't even set the brush down until it's hit brush soap. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no swirling it around in the water, or wiping it off on paper towel and letting it sit there. Like it literally gets swirled in water. It gets conditioned in brush soap, wiped off, and it actually gets put back in its hard plastic protector. I save every single one of those. Like it never, like I don't fucking play games. That brush will curl on you in 5 days if you're me. Like, so that, but until that moment, even after that moment, as it destroys itself, it's a dry brush now, right? That's what all brushes become, right? I mean, but for those 5 days, it's one of the best base brushes in the game. Now, I'll tell you, 2 brushes that are hot garbage, hot Chinatown garbage. Don't ever buy them. Are the small and medium layer brush. Literally useless. Like words cannot communicate to you like how serious I am about garbage. Like they're awful. Like not even from the first moment I start using them, they're awful. Now, maybe it's because I'm not that tight at painting. Maybe it's because I don't understand how paintbrushes work. Maybe I've forgotten how paintbrushes work by all this hardcore airbrushing I've been doing. But maybe you got to be more technical. Maybe you got to like load the brush a certain way, roll it off a certain way, only ever get this much water. I don't know. Like that's not how I paint. So maybe if you're somebody else, you can make those work better. But I will tell you the medium shade brush, one of the best brushes I've ever used.
That medium layer brush literally curled on me within 2.5 seconds of me using it.
That medium base brush we were talking about, like
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Like garbage, so bad.
Trash can.
I have a live tutorial on Twitch where I was like, it's in a box. I will open it. We will begin using it. And by the end of painting that model, it was curled.
Wow.
And they were watching it live. So that brush, I have a lot of, but until that moment, it's great, right? But the medium shade brush, which is like their wash brush, it is actually sick. Like it is good. It's a good brush. And it actually can also be, if you maintain your brushes like as well as I do, it can be your base brush. And I haven't tried the texture tool yet. I feel like I'm going to use it in a tutorial coming up soon with their base texture stuff to see, like, okay, I usually use a paintbrush for this, and the paintbrush I usually use for this is your medium base brush that curls on me. So I end up using that as my fucking dip in fucking pumice brush. But like, I'm going to use your texture brush for that.
So you're talking about the little like palette, like scraper thing that they sell, right?
Yeah.
That actually works really well. I use it to base my stuff. I enjoy it. And I'm going to put in another plug here for Elric's Hobbies, right? They sell some brush sets that are easy to like put away that protect your brushes, and they're solid. They're really good brushes.
Oh, I didn't realize that they also had paintbrushes.
Dude, they have killer. Remember that Adepticon set of paintbrushes you could get?
Oh, the Games and Gears.
That they carry those.
Yeah, they got those. I just remember.
So elricshobbies.com is a hobby store?
Yeah, they even got terrain over on there now.
So we can get our resin bases, which obviously Juice is using right now.
Yo, I've got 2 different for the NIDS, High Fleet Lexus, and the Skaven are both full armies on them, dude. We sat down, Robbie B, and I was like, all right, Rob, let's do this. Literally dropped mad coin, but got a lot of quality for my dollar, but went ahead and got enough bases for like 10,000 points of models. Yo, across the board.
Yo, I can't wait to see that. And obviously that's coming out soon to a podcast near you. People are gonna be able to see that. I've been giving them away in my gift bags on Twitch for months now with promotion codes. Rob has been sending them out to his patrons. They also have the new wound counters. I've been doing a new mystery giveaway every episode on my Twitch stream, and the first mystery giveaway, that person did get the new Chaos wound counters and the new Maelstrom tracker setup. So, I mean, these are amazing products coming from an amazing group of guys. Check them out, elricshobbies.com. These guys don't fucking play games. As a matter of fact, Juice, hit me with the famous analogy for people who don't play games.
Yo, they quit school because of recess. They don't play. Teacher said Elric's Hobby and Games, you get out there and you play. Said, teacher lady, I don't play no games.
Nope.
Quit school because of recess.
Elric's Hobby, 3rd grade education.
That's it.
But amazing stuff.
That's right. They got some amazing game aids. Let me tell you.
How do we do this?
Yo, they keep it fresh.
Nah, it's good. It's all good.
I got obviously it's a slow news week, so our podcast format's a little different this week.
It's just a bunch of game aids.
And But also, there is a tournament this weekend. So if you're listening to this podcast on Thursday, if you listen on Friday, there's still time to make it down to Fayetteville. Is that the right place? Did I say that right?
Spring Lake?
No,
Spring Lake?
it's Fayetteville.
Fayetteville.
Yep, Fayetteville, North Carolina, Hobbytown, USA, 1850. Bring a hobby back Saturday.
Bringing a hobby back all day. We'll be bringing a hobby back literally all day.
At least until 8 p.m. Then I'm done. Then I'm bringing drinking back.
Which is a subcategory of bringing a hobby back.
Yeah.
We brought drinking back midday at the Fayetteville store and literally got yelled at the next day.
Yep.
Like, you guys left your little airplane bottles everywhere. It's like, look, obviously. Oh, which bottles did you find? Oh, the wild turkey. We know it was you, juice, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, right. That's what I drank.
I was right. Yeah.
It was me.
I was like, you got that wrong.
Yeah.
It was me. That's fine. All right, my fault, guys. I won't do it again.
You're such a monster with your wild turkey, dude.
Juice, you're devil's turkey.
Yeah, obviously.
Vicky Valancourt said
that's right. It's for the devil.
Wild turkey's for the devil.
If you guys would just learn to drink real alcohol like me and not like
and white Russians like keep it icy all day every day.
Yeah. Instead of purple Powerades and Smirnoff. God.
I've been warned how many times I'm gonna get ice. I've been warned by half a dozen individuals. Like, I'm gonna ice you to Adepticon. Be ready. It's like,
dude, that's all you're gonna drink now.
Really? You think that you think this is my first Adepticon? You don't think I've been iced before?
It's been my first rodeo.
For the 3 months leading to Adepticon, all I drink is Smirnoff Ice.
I gets ready.
Building my insulin levels to new levels of
sugars.
Because that's how diabetes works. Like, you got to drink more sugar to build a resistance to the insulin influx. That's science.
That's actually, I think, no, Rob, I think he's right. I read an article.
So lost. My bad.
I'm pretty sure.
Who was the author of this article? Was it Thug Nuts or Professor Ghost Anus?
Professor Ghost Anus.
To address the gentleman's first point, global warming is a myth.
If you guys don't know what that is, immediately go to funnyordie.com, look up Juggalo News. The funniest thing ever. But I think that we ruined this podcast. So
yeah, pretty much.
That's what shut this down.
That's all right. Blood Bowl's next week. They'll be back. They'll be back.
And happy birthday, Mike Haswell, the world famous author of Graveyard Shift.
Yep, I was old enough to have fought besides Russ himself. That's how long I've been around.
That's brutal.
Mike Haskell, happy birthday. Big shout out. Going to have a shout out on the Adepticon Eve of ticket sales.
Adepticon weekend. Adepticon ticket sales weekend.
Yeah, ticket sales.
21st, Monday. Quit your job if you have to sit at the computer to make sure you get your tickets.
And then you need to go find another job so you can afford to go to Adepticon.
Yeah. I mean,
it's simple. It's just math. It's fun.
Obviously.
All right, guys. I think we're done here.
Yeah, I would agree.
This Haskell will have a birthday, a special birthday.
Haskell birthday, take us out.
You just said there aren't any except on Earth of the past. Yes, doctor. That's exactly what I said. Well, in that case, now wait just a damn minute.